Welcome to the In Between podcast. It's February, it's the first of the month, and that means it's time for another favorites episode. We are excited to share some of our favorite things we've been watching, listening to, and reading, as well as some of our favorite things about love. We'll be talking a lot about love this month. So enjoy this episode of the In Between podcast.
Everyone, welcome again to the In Between podcast. It is February 1st. It's a new month, which is exciting. And we like to kind of kick things off each month by reflecting on our favorite things that we discovered the month before. So we're just going to jump right in. I hope today that maybe a few of our favorite things will become new things that you like and some kind of new discoveries. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the favorite thing you're following. This could be Instagram, blog, a podcast, just kind of whatever is grabbing your attention.
Okay.
On the internet. Yeah. So Les, what's the favorite thing that you're following right now?
So one thing I'm really liking is a blog called introvertdear.com. I don't even remember how I found it. I think kind of when I was studying my personality type a little bit more. I am an introvert. And so I just kind of ran across this blog somehow in that research. And I really like it. Sometimes it's a little like heavy. Like, hey, we get it. You know, you're an introvert, whatever. But there's really good information. And so I like that, introvertdear.com. It just gives some good insight and things like that. So, yeah, what about you? What are you following that you just love?
You know, there's an Instagram person. Her name is Jess Connolly. She wrote a book called Wild and Free, and she started a thing called the Influence Network, which they actually just disbanded like this month. But I kind of started following her on Instagram after seeing a couple things that she had written. And you know how some people, you don't even know them, but you feel like every time they post something, it's like what you need to hear at that moment. That's just kind of how she is for me.
Awesome.
So she's just a normal mom, but just has some good insight. So cool. I am enjoying that for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what have you been watching lately? What's your favorite thing?
So actually I have three things really fast. So first of all, that's a lot of know. First of all, I just have to say, I always watch The Bachelor. And yes, I think you can love Jesus and watch The Bachelor. I don't condone everything on The Bachelor. In fact, this one is driving me crazy a little bit. It's not. I think people's parents are probably horrified. But I still watch it.
There you go.
I still watch it. Okay, so then this one's kind of crazy too.
Huh?
But the other night I was watching TV. I totally got sucked in to Leah Remini's Scientology Aftermath is what it's called.
I've seen the previews.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe I find it interesting because I actually took a world religions course.
Yeah.
And I did we had to choose like a cult to study. And I chose Scientology like years ago. So, so I kind of have a little bit of background knowledge just from that. Yeah. When I studied it, I was just fascinated with it. But it's really sad. The thing that's kind of stood out to me from her show is just mostly what it's done to families. Like, you know, if someone in your family, you know, does not agree with Scientology, like you literally have to just disconnect from them. So I'm not necessarily saying you should go watch it because it's like a black hole. And like when you watch one, you're going to go. But if you find that kind of stuff interesting, it's good. And then totally opposite spectrum, as I saw La La Land and I loved it.
Don't tell me about it. I still haven't seen it and I am dying to see it. I've wanted to see it forever. I've heard it's fabulous.
I'm actually surprised. Most people that I've talked to, they didn't like the ending, but I thought it was good. I thought it was appropriate. I thought it was great. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But I love the music. I love the acting. I'm a fan.
Awesome.
What about you? What are you watching?
Mine's not very exciting. I really am not watching a whole lot of TV, it seems like. Mm-hmm. But I have my standard go-to, and that's Fixer Upper. I'm loving the new season. I've always loved it, and I think it's still good. Like, some of the HGTV shows kind of get on my nerves after a while because they follow the same, and Fixer Upper is the same way. They follow the same kind of premise each show. Like you can kind of guess what's happening next or whatever. But I just always love it. Here's what I like about it, because I was comparing me and my husband the other day. We're like, why is Property Brothers so annoying, but yet we love Fixer Upper? So it's like in Property Brothers, sorry, Property Brothers fans. Like the people are super involved. The ones where where they're super involved and you feel like the producers are just trying to create the tension.
Some kind of drama.
This character, and you're going to be like, this is not this one, and maybe because it's my husband and he's like, so he's an AV guy, but this one was like, this guy wanted to display all of his components, like his DVD player and his amp and all this different stuff. And his wife was like against it. And it was this big argument. And then it was like, we're going to create a closet under the stairs and blah. And it was just, and Alan's like, this doesn't happen. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, why are they? So anyway, like on Fixer Upper that get the house.
Yeah.
They're on it in the good times. And when you actually see them, like when she's showing them all the stuff, I'm sure they've already seen that and gone through like multiple revisions already. And so they're not sitting there debating with her like, I don't know about shiplap in that room. I mean, it's already done. It's already decided. So anyway, they're not obnoxious. And then when you see them at the end when they see their house and they're genuinely, oh, this is so great. Like, it's beautiful. So anyway, they're not annoying. Chip and Joanna are great. They're funny. Yes. I think they're great. So Fixer Upper, I'm still loving it. I think
that's good. Yeah.
I can watch old ones over and over. Like I don't really get tired. I'm like, oh, I've seen this house, but still fun to watch. So
yeah, exactly. No, I like that too. What about reading? You reading anything?
Well, I've ordered 2 books. I haven't started them yet. I'm about to go on a big long trip, so I'm kind of saving them for that.
Okay.
The first thing I ordered is this book. I saw it. I'm sorry, my lighting is crazy bad. It's called Run with the Horses by Eugene Peterson, and I saw Darlene Check recommend it, and so anything she recommends, I'm pretty much like, yeah, I'll try it. So he's the guy that translated the Message Bible.
Yeah, anything by him is going to be really helpful and good. Yeah.
The other thing I recently ordered is this Joe McGee book. So we kind of grew up hearing Joe McGee speak at our church, and he talks about parenting and marriage and finances, and he's always super funny. And I feel like lately I'm in this like parenting reboot kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Something has really hit me about, we have a 16-year-old, she's a junior in high school, and I kind of feel like we're not there yet, but we're kind of in the home stretch with her.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, and it kind of freaks me out to even say that. But my mind is just like, have we done all we need to do? Like, I don't want to send her out into the world and her like fall flat on her face, and I don't think she'll do that. But for me as a parent, like, I just want to know we have done all that we can do. And so I just feel like I'm in this parenting, like, thirst for knowledge. I mean, we've kind of made it this far. Sometimes in the baby years, you're just doing everything you can to get by.
Right.
But this book is 8 Things No Kid Should Leave Home Without.
Cool.
So I'm all about like finding parenting things. We're in this new weird phase of 16. Like we've set some rules about boys and things like that. And we're actually about to have to start walking them out because there's a boy that's coming over for dinner tonight. So I'm like, this is freaking me out.
Whoa.
I know. But we've always had this rule, like, okay, you're interested in a boy. He's interested in you. Before you can spend time together, he's got to come meet us. Like, we wanted to get to know him. And, if you're not interested enough in him to bring him to the house, you're not really interested in him. Or, if he's not willing to come meet us, then he's not anybody you need to be hanging out with. So we have a young man coming over tonight, and I'm hoping for more parenting goals. I don't remember if that was a Joe McGee thing or what, but I just feel like we're in that home stretch and we need to step out into the world and be a successful, thriving human being. And it feels like a lot of pressure, but
that's big. Well, you'll have to let us know.
I'm starting.
Good.
Yeah, what about you? What are you reading? You're the reader.
I am the reader. I'm reading 4 things right now, always, but I'm only going to tell you about one. So someone gave me this book like literally years ago. It's called Sparkling Gems from the Greek. And I'll be honest, when they get, and like, it's really massive.
Yeah.
And when they gave me this book and I saw this cover, I was like, well, thank you so much. I'm just gonna set this over here. And I just thought it looked cheesy and really big. Yeah. So, but I was actually following someone on Instagram, Havla Cunnington, who I really like, and she was talking about how she's been reading Sparkling Gems from the Greek and how much it's ministering to her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have that book. So what I discovered is it's not just a huge book, it's a daily devotional. There's 365 little studies. So each one is like 2 pages. And each one, the guy is like a Greek scholar. But what he does is he takes a scripture and he just takes one word and then he tells you what the Greek really means. And so therefore what that scripture really means, it's just like a one. Yeah. And it's so good.
Good.
So good. So I am loving this. It's basically become my devotional for 2017.
Awesome.
And so every morning I'm just reading like 2 pages, but I'm learning something new. And it's just kind of making scripture come alive again. So I feel like I need to apologize to the lady who gave it to me. I know who it is. I may email her and be like, hey, remember that book you gave me 6 years ago? I like it.
I didn't take your word for it, but I took this other person's word.
I know. So maybe the moral of the lesson is this, is if you ever feel like you really need to give someone a book, just give it to them. It may not be for them now, but maybe 6 years down the road, like it's going to be awesome for them.
This is the literal example of don't judge a book by its cover.
It is. It so is. I took the dust jacket off because I was like, you know what, maybe it's like a nice, but no, it's the same. It's the same. So,
that's hilarious.
But it's sparkly.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what have you been listening to lately?
Well, you know, I'm not a huge music person. I always kind of just listen to the same stuff or Pandora, whatever it tells me. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to learn actually, like for us, like what are people doing? And this is another podcast that was recommended to me like a couple of years ago. I listened to it once, and whoever was on that day, their voice kind of annoyed me. So I never listened to it again. But I started listening to it again, and that person must have been a guest because their voices don't bother me now. But it's called the Sorta Awesome Podcast.
Okay.
Sorta Awesome. And it's just a lot of women. There's one main host, and she has 3 co-hosts that rotate.
Yeah.
And they just take a different topic and they talk about it. And it's been really informative and good. And it seems like most of the topics they address, they kind of are addressing real questions I'm asking myself as well. So I'm enjoying that. That's what I'm listening to.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
I really don't have a new music thing to recommend either. I guess I'm just kind of in the same old rut. I mean, there's good stuff coming out, but I'm just kind of like, put on the Pandora or the Apple radio. It's just easier than like making a playlist.
Yeah.
But recently I like when I go on like long road trips, especially if I have to drive, to listen to like a good audiobook. Mm-hmm. And I really like, I'm not a big fiction person, so I'm really more into like the memoir type thing where people kind of just share their stories. And so recently I listened to Lauren Graham's book. It's called Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls. So I loved Gilmore Girls back when it was first originally on. I watched the whole revival thing and have mixed feelings about it, but I love her and she's great. And it's fun to hear her actually read the book because she really does. I think she played that character so well because it's a lot. Her. So anyway, it was fun to hear just kind of her story, and she's a writer now. She's writing some other stuff. She gave some great insight into that, and just kind of how, like, just some things I mean, she just shared some really personal things kind of as she was coming up, acting, and just kind of how she came across some of her own personal convictions about things. And
Mm-hmm.
I just found it very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I had a preconceived idea about, somebody who wants to make it so bad, they're kind of willing to do anything. And she thought she was that person, and she just, like, for example, this one thing, she was at this summer internship type thing to actors, and a role came up that would allow her to get be a part of like an actors union, which was like a really big deal. And that was kind of the whole reason she was there. But part of the role included a little bit of nudity, like her backside. And so she's like, at first I didn't think anything about it. I just thought, yeah, great. Well, when she went into audition for it, it was just her and like 2 other people in the room. And she did that scene, and she said, I walked out and I just fell apart into tears and knew, like, I can't do that. I can't. That's just, I didn't think that was in me, but it's apparently in me. And so she said that moment, I just knew, like, from here on out, even though I wanted that role so bad because it was going to lead to other things, I knew it wasn't worth compromising some things in herself. So anyway, it's a really good book. She talks all about Gilmore Girls and making the new thing and just kind of reconnecting with everybody. But it was an interesting listen. I wasn't reading it, but it was good for a road trip. So it was good.
Oh, good. Very good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So we've done four favorites. Let's do number 5. Do you have a favorite purchase from last month?
I totally do. And I wish I could bring it in here, but it's in my kitchen.
Okay.
I don't want to mess with it. So we have this rule at our house. This is one of our parenting things. But everyone's devices, phones, iPads, whatever, have to be plugged in our room every single night. They're not allowed to have them in their rooms at night. Yeah. Just because, number one, I don't want them staying up all hours of the night watching YouTube videos or anything else like that. And I think you have to keep a close eye on that sort of thing because kids can kind of stumble upon things, usually unintentionally, sometimes maybe not, I don't know. But we're just trying to help safeguard. So we've always had that rule. And I had like a power strip by my bed with so many chargers, and it just got to be such a headache. Yeah. And, like, where's my charger? She took mine. Where's this? Blah, blah, blah. Your phone's not plugged in. But, all this different stuff. So I got kind of tired of messing with it. So now we bought this thing. I just ordered it on Amazon. It's like a charging dock, and it charges up to 10 devices. It's got some built-in cords already. So you have to track down your charger. And then there's other USB spots where you can plug in different chargers. And then it's got these little slots, and they all just kind of stand up and line up. And I moved it to the kitchen so I don't have the cluster mess beside my bed. And then the girls just all have like little reminders on their phones or whatever device that pops up at their time that says, plug this in. And it's up to them to get it in there. If it's not on that charger at that time, they lose it for at least a day or 2. So I kind of put the responsibility on them, and it all stays in this one little spot, and I love it. So
that's good. I like it.
I ordered it on Amazon, and it's turned out to be a really awesome thing. So yeah.
Cool. Very good. Awesome. I don't have a tangible purchase. I actually I walked through my closet. I'm like, what am I going to say? It was my favorite purchase. And so, you know what I'm going to say? My nails.
Yes. I was hoping.
Yeah. I have never done literally nothing to my nails. And so, our other sister, Kelsey, she told me I needed to do this. It's called like a dip. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, it stayed on. It's already been on for about 2 weeks. And so I've gotten like so many compliments on my nails, which is so strange to me. And
you've always had like very natural, and your nails have always been very long, like, which is,
they're very strong, very long. Yeah. So, I'm about to go have them take them off and see, cause it's not like a fake, it's not like an acrylic anything. So I'm hoping it doesn't actually damage my real nail. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to keep them or not, but, it's been a fun little discovery for sure. So
awesome.
So I don't know about you, but now that it's kind of cold and winter, I almost change gears when it comes to cooking, and I feel like we're home a little bit more, or you just kind of want to like hunker down. So And let's talk about favorite go-to dinners.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have so many.
I know you do.
Can I say a couple? I love it. You're right. When it does get cold, there's nothing I love more than a crock pot. Cooking away all day. I may have talked about this before, but one of my favorite little things to throw in is chicken, ranch seasoning, taco seasoning, and some chicken broth. Put that sucker on all day, and then it just cooks this awesome chicken. You shred it up. You can use it on like tacos. You can make tortilla soup with it. I just use it in all kinds of ways. So that's a go-to. I always have the stuff on hand just to make it. It's super easy. I do like casseroles and things like that. Just when it's cold, it's kind of nice. But honestly, we've been kind of we've all been trying to eat a little healthier around here. And I'm kind of tired of this super heavy all the time. So probably one of my favorites, and I actually just made it last night, and my husband said, could you make this like 2 or 3 times a week? It is the best thing. And it's super simple, but it's salmon.
Okay.
And the way I make it, I know there's lots of different ways. Some people do it in the oven, different things like that. I do mine on top of the stove in a big nonstick skillet. And all I do is a little salt and pepper on both sides of the salmon. I cook it in butter. I know that's not super healthy, but just a little bit. Just kind of put that butter in the skillet, let it almost brown. You want it, not just melted, but almost a little bit of brown butter. And then I put the salmon in, cook it. I don't even know the right time. I'm sure there's like an exact time. I just watch it. And then flip it. And that's it. And then towards the very end, I squeeze some lemon on top while it's in the pan. I kind of tip it, spoon that butter up over the salmon as it's cooking. And then I just saute some veggies or roast some veggies in the oven, serve it with the big salad. It is like the best thing. Girls don't like it. They just don't like fish. Taylor begs for it like 3 times a week. Will you please make salmon? Like, it is so delicious, and it's super, super easy. So it's kind of a nice break from the heavy, rolly type winter dishes that I tend to go to, but it's a great one, and it's super fast.
Okay.
Zucchini and squash, sauteed it, did a salad, did the salmon. It was done in like 20 minutes. So.
Well, that's great. That's a good go-to.
It is. So what about you?
I use the crock pot a lot too this time of year. This is not very healthy either, but my girls really love it. And I basically make meatballs in the crock pot, and I just buy frozen store-bought, just plain meatballs, and then I put barbecue sauce and grape jelly in there. So, and it just creates a great kind of sweet barbecue flavored meatball. And I serve it over quinoa. I never know how to pronounce that. Is it quinoa or quinoa?
No, it's quinoa.
Quinoa. Okay, I had it. Okay.
You're right.
The spelling and the sound do not match.
I know.
Okay, so I'm gonna act like I know what I'm doing. I serve it over quinoa, which my girls will eat too. They like that, and then do some roasted vegetables with it. We're done. So that's my go-to.
My kids love meatball. I do make meatballs and just get the frozen ones because they're just as good as what you're gonna make.
Right.
But I like doing them in the crock pot because a lot of times I'll do them on the stovetop, and you really have to watch them or they burn on the bottom.
Yes.
And you're just like, so the crock pot's good. It still gives it a nice like caramelization a little bit, but it's not, it doesn't burn. Do you use the crock pot liners?
I don't, but I feel like maybe I should look into them because it's always such a hassle to scrub the crock pot.
Things like that just get super crusty and stuck. Oh my gosh, I love them. They are so get you some crock pot liners. You just pick that thing up, throw it in the trash, you're done. So it's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
So yeah, good go-to meals.
Very good. I know. So it's February, which is the month of love. So let's do three favorites about that. First of all, favorite date spot. I'll go first.
Favorite date spot. Okay.
I don't have when we were young, we were creative. We did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, like when it's time for a date, like the goal is just to talk. Yes. Usually, like we just
children interrupting you. Yeah.
Exactly. We just like need to reconnect. My husband, he's just a coffee fanatic. And so this is not creative, but we really just love to go to coffee shops. And maybe it also reminds us of when we were dating and we were in college and we used to go to coffee shops all the time. Mm-hmm. We just go and get a good cup of coffee. And we usually will do something else on the date as well. But I always feel like usually like the best part of our date because we're just sitting down to talk. So
that's awesome. We are kind of, there's a couple things we like to do. We love live music.
Yeah.
So, and of course in Nashville, you can find live music pretty much anywhere. So anytime we get a chance to go on a little date, we like to go somewhere and just hear live music. I don't know. We both just really, really enjoy that. Mm-hmm. Other thing, we're kind of food and wine snobs a little bit. We've kind of gotten a little snobby about that, but it's led us to like some really amazing restaurants. That is one thing, like my husband will splurge on like a really good meal. We don't do it often and all the time, but another thing we like to do on dates is just, we kind of learned this from our good friends back in Lubbock, Bo and Sarah Tucker. When we first kind of started hanging out and going to dinner with them, they like to do things like really slow.
Okay.
And drawn out. So the waiter, normally like a waiter comes, takes your drinks, maybe gets an appetizer order. As soon as the appetizer's out, he's already taken your food order. I mean, it's like they're trying to kind of rush you out as soon as, So I remember, I'll never forget the first time we went to dinner with them, kind of on a little double date. It was like, took drink orders and then, I'm like looking through the menu thinking I've got to hurry. They haven't even cracked their menu. We're just talking. So we enjoyed, a nice little drink. And I was like, do you guys want appetizers? Sure. So then we'd order an appetizer and it was like, should we order? I felt like this rush or whatever.
Right, yeah.
It was like 2.5, 3 hour long dinner. And it was like the greatest thing. And we love that about every time we go out to eat with them. It's just so relaxed. There's no rush. You have great conversation. You don't overeat because sometimes you may have filled up on an appetizer and then you go, yeah, I really just want a salad, or no, I'm going to skip the salad and go to this, or it's just kind of, I don't know what it is about just slowing down.
Yeah.
Actually last week, my husband and I, we went on a date. We found this new restaurant and we found ourselves doing that. Like the guy was kind of like, do you want an appetizer? Can I go ahead and take your order? And I was like, we're just going to sit here for a minute. And they don't mind. They're like, okay, great. Yeah. You're buying a nice expensive meal. They're going to get a good tip. It's fine. And it just helps us to slow down and talk. And same thing, like by the time we had eaten, and my husband's like, oh yeah, get 2 appetizers. I mean, that all sounds good. He just like way over orders. So then by the time it was actually time to get a meal, like I wasn't even that happy. So I just got a smaller, and it was like, okay, this is good. Because then you don't feel like, oh, I have this big plate of expensive food. I need to stuff it all down or whatever. But
that's good.
I feel like it was wasteful. So anyway, we just like really nice restaurants with good food. We do like to drink good wine. Just a nice glass of red wine with your meal or whatever. Anyways, so just a slow dinner. Again, it lets you talk and just kind of be, and we don't get that with kids around. It's like you're just trying to get everybody fed and dishes cleaned and all that kind of stuff. So
we could all benefit from that, just to really slow down.
Crazy. Like I thought it was so strange the first couple times, and then I was like, man, this is the way to do it. Just take your time. Like, what is the rush?
Every time we've ever traveled to Europe, that's always a takeaway on our way home, as we used to say, we so enjoyed our meals everywhere we went, whether we were in a restaurant or someone's home.
Yeah.
They'll eat for 2 or 3 hours. Like, they just take their time. It's really lovely. So that's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
What about relationship resource? Do you have something that has either helped your marriage or that you recommend to other people?
Yeah, for sure. So for us, a couple years ago, we went on this retreat. It's a ministry called Sunscape. It was actually here in Tennessee. It was before we lived in Tennessee, but we came out here in East Tennessee, and we stayed for a whole week, and all kinds of sessions and things like that. But the thing that we took away that helped us the most, that we learned there, was the personality test, the Myers-Briggs personalities. And I don't guess, I mean, we had done different ones, the colors, the animals, the different things like that. But we spent a lot of time in our sessions really breaking that down, really understanding not only like the good things about those personalities, but kind of the negative things, or how you can recognize when you're slipping into a bad spot.
Yeah.
So anyway, that has helped us. We still talk about it. We're like, well, I think this is the N in your personality, or this is the J in your personality coming out, or whatever. And so it just helped us so understand each other. We are complete opposites, me and my husband. I'm an INFJ. He's an ESTP. I mean, it was like opposite sides of the spectrum, which we knew there wasn't like a whole lot in common in ways, but to learn that about each other, it's just been amazing. I remember back on an episode with Stacy Bloomfield, she talked about the Enneagram, and actually last week I did a little online like sample type thing, and sure enough, I found out my things and I started reading it to my husband. I said, this is the type that says I am, and he is like literally laughing. That is so you. That is so, I mean, because it was just funny. And then, but then it also, he was like, do you really feel like that? Do you really struggle with that? Or is that something you really think? And I'm like, yeah, it really is. And so it helps him to go, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And so he has been, even since that, one of the things was like, in relationships, you want to be reminded that the person's happy to be seen with you or something. So anyway, it's funny because this past week, well, everywhere we go, he's like, I'm so happy to be seen with you. Beautiful. I'm so excited to be out on the town with you, or whatever. I'm like,
that's so sweet.
We're going to Kroger, we're not out on the town, but he's really trying. So it's helped us understand each other. So What about you guys?
I think just a similar concept that when you understand yourself and you understand the other person in some arena, it helps your relationship so much. So for us, we always recommend people to read the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Yeah. And that's been on for a long time, so a lot of people know it, but really reading it and then talking about that. And so we're kind of the same in the fact that we're opposites when it comes to our love languages. He is touch and words of affirmation, and I am quality time and acts of service. And so I think kind of 2 or 3 years into our marriage, we had this realization that like he was always telling me how wonderful I was, and wanting to hold my hand, touch. And that does not show love to me at all. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
stop touching me.
Stop touching me right now. Yeah. But because I was doing that, then I was communicating to him that I didn't love him, because he was getting touch and reciprocation. Mm-hmm. And instead, I was just like, let's go spend more time together. Like, anyways, once we had the realization of how we were different, but how the other one received love, just helped us so much. So now I'm like intentional about if I'm in public or we're doing, not even just public, like I will try to grab his hand, or I'll try to and it's funny because you realize you have to force yourself to think that way because it's just not your natural first inclination. No. So it's really helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yes. All right. 2 more, or we're running out of time. So we're almost done.
It's okay. Yeah. We're good.
We're doing good. Do you have a picture that represents love to you lately?
I do.
Yeah.
And it's love has come to me in a surprising way lately. It is through my dogs, particularly my lab, May. We've had her for like almost 8 years. I don't remember exactly how long, but it's been around 8 years. Mm-hmm. And she's always been more of an outside dog, super playful. At our last house, we had like 2.5 acres, and she just ran and roamed and chased rabbits and was very active outside dog and very affectionate, very loving, but just more not like in the house. Well, since we've moved here, she's in the house like all the time. And for a while, it kind of drove us all crazy. But she is just loyal. She's sweet. She's always with me. If I get up and go to the other room to get more coffee or change the laundry, I mean, she's right there. When I'm cooking dinner, She just stands there and she sits there and she's like, if I'm in my bathroom getting ready, she's laying on the rug. Like she's right here at my feet, like right now, wherever I'm at, May's going to be there. And she's just a sweet dog. And I've never been one of those like super dog type people, but this dog has just really, my affection has grown for her even more. And she is precious. And we have another dog, Scout. He's nice too, but she's just the sweetest little thing. And so anyway, yeah, it's a weird kind of love, but like this loyal, unconditional, there's nothing I could do that could make May stop loving me. I'm pretty sure of it. So
that's so good. That's good. Love. For me, I was looking back through my pictures. I thought, do I have one? And I found this great picture of my two girls. It snowed for one day here recently, and so they got all bundled up, and it's just of them playing. They're finally at the age where they fight a lot, but they really do love each other and get along. And what I love about the picture, and we'll post this on our blog for our show notes, is Haven, the way she's looking at her bigger sister Selah. Like, it's just so, like, you just can tell she just loves her and thinks she's on the moon. And so just a good reminder to look at what love really looks like, even through our kids. So I'm loving that picture.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up, this episode. What is your favorite thing you have learned this month?
Okay. All right. So in January, we talked a lot about our goals, what we're doing. And actually at my job, I had a meeting with all the pastors that work on our campus. And so we were going around each sharing, like if we had a word or a goal or whatever. And so they got to me, and I think I shared previously that my word for 2017 is follow through. Well, two guys that are on my team, both were great basketball players. And one of them is a guy, he grew up in California. He's this awesome, like African-American, fantastic basketball player. And so he and the other guy, they started talking about follow through because they think about it in basketball terminology. Mm-hmm. And so they were talking and it just encouraging me in that. And so he said, what, Paige? He goes, what helped me the most with my follow through with my shot is, he said, I remember so vividly, I was in high school and I was in a shooting slump. And so he said, every after practice, my coach would just have me shoot. And he said, I would just work on my follow through. And he goes, it just wasn't going in. And he said, one day my coach came over to me and he said, Chris, he said, the question is he said, when you are shooting, your follow through is looking okay, but are you expecting it to go in? Or are you already assuming you're not going to make it again? And he said, that made all the difference in the world. And he just said, Paige, I think whatever is ahead of you, there's a lot of work. Like he said, it was a lot of work for me just to shoot. But I realized that once my mind got in line with my work and I expected positive outcome, then the follow through actually started paying off. And so it was just one of those, if you've ever just been talking to someone and like everyone in that room was like sharing things that was all good, but that one thing, it just like hit me. So this last month, I have really been focusing on that, and even just little tasks I'm working on, or even in my parenting. What I've realized is sometimes even in like disciplining my kids, I'm like, I've got to be consistent. But there are times where I think to myself, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
And I've just had to really change my mindset and so many arenas. Like when I start, if I feel confident that this is what I'm supposed to do, I have to put in the work. I have to follow through with it. But let's go ahead and believe it's going to work, and that it's amazing what a difference that's made. So that's my lesson that I've been learning.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For me, it's been kind of a simple lesson. And I guess it started maybe a couple months ago. I had this like stirring in me kind of a thing where not a guilt, but kind of almost like a guilt where I was, I would just go to the Lord and I'd be like, God, I don't feel like I really even quite know how to pray. Like I've never been one of those like intercessor type, stay up all night and pray. I mean, obviously, yes, I pray, but I've just been faced with some things, and it was like, I know I need to pray about this, but I guess I doubted the effectiveness of my prayers, you know, and it would be like, oh, I should call somebody to get them on this and God was like, I hear your prayers as much as I hear their prayers.
Right.
You know, and again, it's that expectation thing. It's what's on my side of it. Do you expect a positive outcome? Are you actually expecting me to answer? Are you expecting that I'm going to listen? Or do you pray because it's like, well, that's the right thing to do? Yeah. So anyway, I've kind of been challenging myself lately in my prayer life, and I've been learning that God really wants to answer our prayers, you know? And I think a lot of times we don't pray because we're afraid he's not going to say what we want him to say. Right. So like, we've been like trying to make some decisions on some things here. Nothing major, nothing, you know, my husband's some stuff with his business, some stuff with music stuff. And it's like, we debate all these things. We weigh all these options, and God's like, I already have an answer. Like, why don't you just ask me? And it doesn't have to be this long drawn out, I have to stay up all night and fast for 40 days before I get an answer. Like, it's really just God, what do you think about this situation? What do you have for us? What's in your plan for us? And he's got an answer. You know, I think when we go into that without a lot of agenda, God, I'm praying just because I really want to hear your voice. I'm not going to pray like in a certain direction. Does that make sense? Like, okay, God, I need you to speak this to me. Well, that may not be what he's wanting to speak. But you just go with an openness to say, God, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm needing an answer on. So would you just speak to me what your plan is for this situation? And it's like, he's so quick and lays it out really simply. And so anyway, it's kind of challenging me and changing my prayer life a little bit. I've always had certain people that I look to or look up to. They probably don't even know it, but like I admire their prayer life. And God's like, you can have that. You know, all they do is just take the time, and they come to me with no agenda. They just come really wanting to hear and wanting to listen. And so that's where I'm at. I'm just like, God, just speak whatever it is, even if it's a hard word, even if it's not what I think I want to hear, because if it's your will and it's your voice speaking, then that's the right thing. And that's where we want to go. So that's what I'm learning, and that's where I'm at. So I feel like finally at 35 years old, my prayer life is kind of shaping up a little bit, and it's just moving beyond asking for things that I think I need or want, and just asking for God to speak, whatever that looks like. So
that's really good. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, man, we covered a lot of great stuff today.
We did. A lot of favorites.
Favorites, yes. So, well, we hope that you have a fabulous February. We'll be back next week with more great things. We're going to talk about love this month, which, all different kinds of love. And so be sure and go onto our blog for our show notes if you want to find out or track down one of our favorite things. We'll have all of it listed for you guys. So until then, have a great week, and we'll talk to you about being in the in-between more next week.
Thanks for joining us this week for the In Between podcast. We always love talking about our favorites, and we hope we've given you some ideas, maybe something new to read or listen to, a new show to watch even. We're just here to share our ideas and things that we're loving, and hope that you might love them too. Don't forget, you can go to our website, theinbetween.com, and in the blog section, we'll have our show notes. In those notes, we'll have links to everything we discussed today. So if you need a new charger for all your kids' devices, go to the show notes. We can help you out with that. We also love to connect through Facebook and Instagram. So join us on one of those social media platforms this week. We would love to hear from you. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
And love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you.